Hello, my name is Patricia Mendez, and I'll be discussing a little bit of GM's marketing strategies as a whole and some of the issues faced by this company. Company overview. General Motors was incorporated in 2009. This company designs, builds, and sells cars, trucks, and parts around the world. GM has 4 automotive segments, including GM North America, Europe, International Operations, and South America. Also, GM North America offers vehicle developed and manufactured and marketed under the Buick, Cadillac, Chevrolet, and GMC brands. Also, it markets flex fuel vehicles in Australia, Thailand, and other worldwide markets where biofuels have developed in the market. SWOT analysis. Strengths: strong brand portfolio, knowledge of local market, global presence, new vision and strategy, strong presence in China, and well-performing brands. GM was the leading auto manufacturer in terms of sales for 77 years until 2007. Also, after the 2008 bailout, GM has experienced major changes and reorganized the way it does business. Also, GM currently sells 18 automobile brands, and the most popular brands are Cadillac, Buick, GMC, and Chevrolet that sells very well in the US and China. China is the largest automotive market, and it's an emerging economy that grows steadily. The weaknesses: brand reduction, car recalls, inflexible culture, and high cost structure. GM has one of the highest cost structures compared to all automobiles manufacturers. Also, GM controls 18 automobile brands that vary in quality and are sold in separate markets. With so many brands in sales, customers find it hard to identify which brand belongs to GM family, which is a problem. Before the reorganization in 2008, GM was infamous for its rigid culture and structure. Since then, the company has made some cultural and structural changes, but should continue improving as it isn't as quickly as competitors in reaching the constantly changing environment. Also, the car recalls. Last year, they recalled 119,000 pickups due to missing hood latch. The same year, it had to recall its Chevrolet Volt and fix battery problems. Some of the opportunities are changing customer needs, growth through acquisition, and attitude towards clean fuels vehicle. Today, consumers are more aware of the negative effects of the air pollution caused by cars. Also, the increasing fuel prices open up a large market. GM's hybrid and electric cars as consumers shift towards cheaper fuel types. Also, by introducing new car models, General Motors would be able to meet changing customer needs for a smaller and more fuel-efficient car. GM has successfully acquired many car companies in the past and should continue doing so to gain new skills, assets, and access to the new market. Some of the threats are inconsistent fuel prices, new emission standards, increase of raw material prices, exchange rates, and intense competition. Due to increasing extractions of shale gas, future fuel prices should drop and make electric and hybrid cars less attractive. A new wave of stricter regulations on vehicle emissions standards may negatively affect GM's finance. The corporate would have to invest a large amount of money to comply with these new standards. Also, rising prices for raw materials will lift the cost of auto manufacturers and result in squeezed profits for the companies. GM led global sales of vehicles but lost its position in 2008 due to increased competition of cheaper and better quality cars, especially from Japan and South Korea. Last but not least, China is GM's second largest market, and the business earns huge profit there. Exchange rate fluctuations threatened GM's profit if the dollar would appreciate against Chinese currency. Some of the competitors of GM are Ford, Toyota, Honda, and Nissan. Toyota and Honda being the highest competition. Price strategy. GM's pickup sales are down close to 12% from 2013, especially the increase of sales of their competition, Ram trucks, Ford, and Toyota Tundra. To make things better, GM brought a new half-ton truck into the market in order to help boosting the sales and prevent losses. By doing that, they offered incentives on the sale of trucks. For example, the Silverado was given an incentive of approximately $4,000 per unit. GM has a high competitive car market segment here because they compete in segment 8, but with so many cars, over 95 cars in their portfolio, they lose focus and control. In this slide, you see where the segments of cars are, and GM's place on the segment number 8 with the sedan mid-size cars. One of the biggest competitors of GM is Toyota. A little comparison here. GM's loss of market focus stands in stark contrast to Toyota's very high market focus. Toyota has one market-focused brand, which is the Camry, and it has only 2 engine options and a very limited number of choices of cosmetic and mechanical options. On the other hand, GM, virtually every division has a car offering, which difficults its competition. GM's issues. GM also had a few operational issues with the ignition switch in 2001, that the mechanism was supposed to hold the ignition key in place, but the technicians noted that when driving with several other keys on key ring, the weight of additional keys wears the ignition key out. Also, the styling of Chevy Cobalts. They received a report that the Cobalts lost power when keys accidentally bumped or moved out of run position. As a result, they had accidents with the Cobalt. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration pushed for an investigation. And another issue found was with the Camaros, with the shut-off of the engines while driving. Some of the company's response was to hire outside help to conduct an assessment of ignition switches of all cars, also initiating recalls in 2014, and unfortunately making responsible for 13 total deaths and linked to 24. GM also had some network security issues. The hackers were able to control functions on a GM car using GM's OnStar Remote Link app to any OnStar equipped car OnStar to locate the vehicle, lock and unlock doors, turn lights on and off, turn engine on and off, and all from a phone, which is a very large security problem. In conclusion, GM being a massive company and very well respected, they did not let these issues bother them too much. They worked to quickly fix. They issued a new OnStar Remote Link app, removed previous version of app, conducted further testing for securities, and no action was needed by the customer. Thank you very much for your time.